Welcome to Nurturing the Whole Child with Teacher Miriam. In today's episode, we look at how to nurture the whole child from the home front. That means today I'm going to be speaking to us as parents and also the caregivers and the home community, everyone in the home environment involved in raising or nurturing the child. We all know and we have all had, and for parents, we have actually experienced the fact that bringing up or parenting a child is one of the hardest jobs in the world. And the saddest part or the most challenging part is that parenting does not come with a formal manual. We are expected to learn on the job, and it is hoped that as we learn on the job, we are going to raise and nurture functional human beings that can make a difference in the world. Challenging as it may be, parenting is also very fulfilling. And so we are going to share tips or things that we can do as parents to enjoy this journey and produce or bring up uh, regulated and complete or whole children while at it. So we need to know as parents or as caregivers from the home environment that nurturing a whole child or nurturing a complete child does not require things that are away or out of our reach. It actually starts with us. So today we look at how to create a good environment from the home. And before we talk about the surroundings of the home, we're going to refer to ourselves as parents. We all know that when a child is anxious, they cannot learn, they cannot thrive, they cannot be happy. So how do we create a non-anxious presence for our children? This is what you're talking about. How do we make the home environment? How do we make our surroundings? How do we make that sitting room? How do we make ourselves as a calm place, as a safe place for our children to run into? This is what I'm referring to as creating a non-anxious presence for your child because it starts with us. So this means we are looking at what do we transmit or what do we radiate to our children before we even think of taking them to school, before we even think of buying them good toys, before we even think of buying them nice clothes and feeding them good and healthy food. What are we radiating to them as their parents or as their immediate caregivers? In creating a non-anxious presence for your child as a parent, you need to first be at peace with yourself. We all know that calm is contentious. So if you go to a calm place, you find yourself feeling calm, relaxed, and okay. And most likely, you're going to function at your optimum when you are in a calm environment. And this is the same case for children. So if as a caregiver, as a parent, you are calm, you are at peace, chances are very high that you will radiate this peace and this calm to your child. So we are looking at how can we be that presence that is not threatening, that does not cause anxiety for our own children. To begin with, as parents or as caregivers, we need to learn to enjoy our children. We need to learn to make enjoying parenting and caregiving to our children a priority. How do you enjoy parenting? Sometimes it can get tedious, sometimes it can get draining, but we need to prioritize enjoying the journey. At every developmental stage of your child, you need to decide that I'm going to enjoy raising up my infant. Even when I can't communicate when I can't communicate with them as it were, if we are looking at communication in terms of how adults communicate, because clearly even newborns, even infants do communicate. That babbling is communication. Even when you feel like it doesn't mean much, when your child is babbling at you, they are communicating, and as a parent or as a caregiver to an infant, you need to take that communication seriously, because even when it doesn't mean much, this is their only form of communication. So is there babbling, saying, mama, mama, ta, 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 join in and enjoy. We are talking about enjoying parenting, enjoying caregiving. Make it your priority at every developmental stage, from infancy to toddlerhood to early childhood, all the way to pre-adolescence, to adolescence, to teenage. Make it a joy. That means as a parent, you have to keep adjusting to the developmental stage of your child, such that if you are raising an infant, then you cannot be acting all adults. Simple things like talking and engaging to your child, even when you're changing their diapers. Let them hear you say, so mommy is going to remove this diaper because it's dirty, because it's smelling yucky. And show those facial expressions. And once you've removed the diaper, lift the little baby, tell them, wow, baby is smelling fresh, baby is clean. You're walking away to throw the diaper in the bin. Don't go silently. Talk. Don't assume this child doesn't comprehend what you're saying. Children, interestingly, are born with an ability to learn. Even at 3 months, surprisingly, even at 3 months, children have learned and can distinguish the different sounds in most of the languages spoken around them. So let's not think this is an infant, this is a 1 month old, this is a 2 week old. What can they understand? What can they hear? And engage them. And as they grow, as they get to these specific developmental stages, they are learning to sit up, they are learning to crawl, they are learning to stand, they are learning to walk on their own, they are learning to speak, uttering their very first clear words, saying mama, baba. Encourage them, urge them on. As they get into the preschool age, they're getting into playgroup, into preschool 1 and preschool 2. You need, as a parent or as a caregiver, to come to that level. So you look at what excites your child. They are coming from school, from their preschool, with exciting stories, telling you, singing for you the nursery rhymes that they learned. Join in. Mary had a little lamb. If the child is singing, Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Don't just watch. Join in and learn the song. You can even tell the child, baby, teach me the song. That sounds like a nice song. And let them know that you're looking forward to learn something new from their preschool days. Don't sound all knowing and all so mature, like, oh, that is what you used to learn. Encourage your child and grow with your child. That is the only way to enjoy. And as they grow bigger, as they get into adolescence, they're now becoming a little more opinionated. They're telling you stories they have learned and heard from their friends out there. Sounds interested. They are coming in and saying, I'm sad today because so and so is no longer my friend. They say they don't want me in their friend group. That is something that is of interest to your child. So this means that if it is of interest to your child, then it becomes of interest to you. So if it's a big deal that your child doesn't seem to be fitting into a friend group, talk to them, encourage them, let them know they are unique, let them know they always find a friend at home. There's a friend in their siblings, there's a friend in you. Let them also know that they don't have to fit everywhere. Let them know that it is okay, uh, that so and so doesn't want them to be their friend. It's fine. Encourage them to be the friend that they would like the others to be for them. And if someone doesn't feel comfortable with them, let them know there's nothing wrong with them. They need to know it is okay for me not to be with them if they do not want to be with me, because, that is just okay. Remember, it is from home where we give children, where we train them on resilience. All good things start at home, or are supposed to start from home. So when a child goes out there and they are facing the harsh realities of life, where not everyone feels they are so pretty, so gifted, so wonderful, they need to come out of that door knowing that it is okay, that not everyone thinks that I am super awesome. It's okay that not everyone, if not everyone thinks or wants to be with me. So they need to come out of home equipped to handle life, even as they get into their teenage years, because we all know the early years and the teenage years are the most challenging times in a growing up child, and more especially the teenage years when so much is happening in their lives, and so much they cannot understand. They are feeling not so much of children, and again, you are also not regarding them as adults, so it's quite a crisis. So help your child navigate through all those stages, meaning that you need to decide and to be determined as an adult or as a parent or as the primary caregiver to enjoy every stage of your growing child, all the way from infancy to, I mean, as they grow to teenagehood. It needs to be, you need to be purpose that I'm going to enjoy raising my child. Because if you purpose like that, then you're not going to be anxious about anything. Another thing to do as a parent or as a primary caregiver to create that non-anxious presence for your child is to, to stop over worrying and to stop fearing for your child. As parents, it's normal for us to start feeling like, am I sure my child will pull through teenagehood? Am I sure they will get good grades? Am I sure they will turn out well? Uh, I would encourage us as parents to enjoy the moment, enjoy where you are with your child. You don't start stressing over, will my child be involved in drugs, will my child fail in their exams, will they get good colleges, because as you worry about the future of your child, you miss the present moment. The child you have now is a preschooler or is in elementary level, meaning they are in their primary level or early high school, or they are even in their teenage years. That is the child you have. Enjoy raising them at that moment. Do not raise them as you are fearing for their future. So another way of creating an anxious presence for your child is to try as a parent and adopt a non-judgmental attitude. When a child comes to you with an issue that is of concern for them, and they are presenting it so seriously and it's such a big deal for them, please do not invalidate them. Do not make them feel like, is that even something to make you sad? Just a baby, a little girl, a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old runs home and says, Mommy, I'm sad. So and so doesn't want to play with me. And then you stand up and you're sounding like, you're sounding all adult and saying, is that anything to make you cry? Why should you cry over that? No, no, no. Appreciate and acknowledge what they feel. Tell them, I know it must feel so bad when someone you want to play with is not interested in playing with you. But you know what? Sometimes the people we want to be with don't want to be with us, and it is just okay. It is all right. Talk to first, acknowledge that it is okay for them to feel sad. Then offer support. So don't judge, and especially as they grow bigger and they are having their own views towards issues and towards life, don't be so preachy, like always saying, here we can't do this, in my home you can't do this. That kind of parenting will make, first of all, you as a parent very anxious, because as you advance that kind of parenting, it's making you tense because you are always scared that they'll always go against the rules that you have set up. And also, it makes your child very anxious and they feel not so trusted. So, we are saying as parents, we have a duty to be that presence that our children enjoy, that presence that doesn't cause anxiety. And interestingly, However much you may want to veil, you put a veil as a parent or as a caregiver, you're thinking, they can't see. They can see through that veil. They can see your anxious. They can see your lack of trust for them. They can see your judgmental attitude. They can see all your fears. And the sad thing is, in as much as children are very observant, they are more likely to misinterpret what they observe. So they start feeling like they're the cause of all your worries. So what are we saying? As parents, we also have a duty to manage our own stresses. The truth is, we are parenting. It's already a very huge responsibility. But then again, we have other things that are calling for our attention. We have bills to pay, we have responsibilities over even other members of our families, for example. We are concerned about the cost of living, about the taxes and everything. So we have enough to worry about. That's just the truth. We cannot run away from that. So I'm not saying we shouldn't be stressed as parents or as caregivers, because again, that would be a lie. I am saying we need to look for a way to manage our stresses, because if we are parenting through stress, our children are going to read through our stress, going to make them anxious. No one performs at their optimum when they are anxious. So I cannot overemphasize the importance of being an anxious presence for your child. That is the foundation for raising a whole child, a thriving child. We are looking at a child that knows that out there I may not find acceptance, but I always know that home is my protective place. At home, I am accepted. At home, I have a place where I don't have to be so scared and so stressed up about how people are looking at me. Other than making enjoying your child or enjoying raising your child a priority, as parents or as immediate caregivers, we can make our everyday activities, we can use them as opportunities to learn for our children. So we are talking about simple basic things like even sorting laundry for the young children. As you are sorting laundry, you are telling them we are putting the white clothes here, we are putting the black clothes here. So you are teaching. It's everyday life, but the child is getting to learn. That already forms the basis for learning arithmetic. You're telling them put the 5 white shirts here, put the black trousers here, put the red clothes over here. They're already learning colors. And as you talk and communicate and engage your child, you are forming the basis for their language development, especially at a time in life where we are seeing a lot of delayed speech in children. These are things that we can do with our children. As you go with them for grocery shopping, you are at the supermarket picking up things. So you talk with your child, tell them we're going to pick 3 packets of milk. Push the trolley, not as you scroll through your phone, but as you are present, body, mind, and soul for your child. Tell them, pick 3 packets of milk. And as they are picking, you are counting. That is 1, 2, 3. No, this applies to the young children. Because again, I know we are not all parenting young children, but the basis, the foundation always for childcare is on the young children. So that is why I'm putting a lot of emphasis on the young ones, because if you get it right, if we give the right foundation for language development when they are young, then chances are that we are not going to struggle with some of these things. Even in the morning when you're leaving to go to work, don't just disappear on them. Tell them, mom or daddy or auntie is going to work. I will be back in the evening. Whether they are responding or not, talk to them in whatever. When you are in the kitchen cooking, talk to them. Let them know mommy is cooking yummy food for baby. And when I finish cooking, we are going to sit down and eat together. You are already making them anticipate the next action. We are going to say our night prayers, and after we have said our night prayers, we are all going to sleep. So you don't just wake up and announce everyone to their bed. They are already getting to anticipate what is going to happen. We're going to read a storybook. then we go to bed. When we wake up, we are going to tidy up. After tidying up, we will sit at the breakfast table and have our breakfast. Whatever it is that you're doing around your home, use it as a learning experience. Even when you're cooking food, you are talking about the ingredients. This is, we are going to make rice. So this is rice. We are going to use water. We are going to boil or we are going to fry rice. As you're talking about the ingredients, allowing your child to touch the food, they are learning textures. This is already a basis for teaching science. So there are so many opportunities at home that you can use to uh, form the basis of learning for your child. Another way of helping us raise or nurture a whole child from the home front is allowing play and taking play seriously. You know, a lot of times we see children playing and we just let them continue and it doesn't register anything for us. We need to realize that play is important. The importance of play in a child's life cannot be underscored because play builds important life skills for children. When a child is doing imaginative free play, they're just on their own doing imaginative play, like looking at a toy, calling it a train, and imagining that that train can travel in space or whatever it is that they're imagining. That is helping them build a creativity and form the basis for language development. As they are playing with others, they are learning to compromise, they are learning to take turns, they are learning to communicate because you can't play silently. So take play seriously. If your child has put up something and they're saying, this is my house, I've put up, this is the bedroom, this is the sitting room, this is, and they are so passionate about it and they're so engrossed and carried away in that play. Do not undermine that. Take it seriously as a parent because as you do this you're allowing your child to build their creativity, and when they make up something, please don't be the one to put it down for them. Don't destroy it. If they put up something and for them that is a house, let it remain a house until the owner of the house brings it down, not you bringing it down. And once again, I need to insist that I'm referring more to children, to young children in the early years and the activities they would be involved in, because I know for sure that if we get the foundation right, then it becomes a lot easier. If I have been engaged in my child's interest when they are young, being involved in their play and taking their play seriously. If I have taken parenting them at their infancy through their toddlerhood into early years, then we have already created a bond. And as we move into adolescence and into teenage, you already have a relationship. So it's going to be easy for me to guide them through even the more challenging years of their development. So we are talking about play, allow the children to create a mess. Don't be so uptight, don't be so worried about, like, is the space going to, am I maintaining cleanliness in my space? And if you're so worried about that, and maybe you can afford some extra space, put it aside. Call it a play corner, call it a playroom, call it whatever it is, but let it be important. Let it be important to you that your child needs to play and they need a space to play, and they can be allowed to create a little mess because that is the only way they grow. That is the only way they learn. The other thing I would like to talk about, still in regards to raising a whole child, a complete child, especially from the early years in their development, is reading for our children. I know we have been told this many times. We have been told it's nice to read for our children. I am just here to emphasize it's important, really important to read for our children. As we are reading for our children, we are first of all creating a love for books. We are, as we read for them aloud, we are encouraging the development of language skills. You know, we are stimulating their brain. We are encouraging creativity. We are allowing children to walk into spaces that, they would never go physically. So it's very important, however young a child is. read for your child. As they grow, encourage them to read before bedtime, take them away from the screen and direct them towards reading hard copies. Researchers have said that reading hard copy of materials helps to grow the subconscious part of the brain. So it's important to allow children to read. They will be watching screen and telling you they are reading online. Encourage hard copy reading. It's very important. It helps them to grow their cognition. I mean, it also builds other skills. As children read, they are learning to be creative. They are learning to see the world in other perspectives. So they are broadening their perspectives in life. So there is so much, parents, that we can talk about in regards to creating that environment that is enabling to nurturing a whole child at home. But what I need to say, even as we conclude our today's episode, is that as parents and as caregivers, we need to realize and acknowledge that bringing up a complete or a whole child has very little to do with, spending so much, taking them to big schools, giving them expensive toys. It has so much to do with who we are, what kind of presence we create for these children, and how we manage our time around them such that we are able to give them quality time. I need to remind us not to forget to like and to subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more episodes in the coming days.